Hopefully, some others jump on, but we got Savannah here and me and Ashley. Lynn's online. And so let's go to your opening thoughts so I don't think we're on when she talked about Zappos. So we kind of like today, Eric will have some closing thoughts today for team meeting, and then he'll open next team meeting and we kind of recap whatever. So she's already kind of spoke about this amazing team culture and how that was formed and why and all that stuff. And so we're going to kind of now revisit that. So
Yeah.
Kitty.
Just this was an opportunity that I had to meet and talk with the chief of staff, the former chief of staff, who was Tony Shea, and up in the top left there. Tony Shea was one of the founders of Zappos, which is an online shoe company. And I had the opportunity to meet with his former chief of staff and learn from her about the Zappos company and how it was created and how the culture came about and what they created with that. And it's this highly unique company culture that is just really, really cool and is now researched around what they did. And so I was sharing about their core values and how they came to creating those and how we can implement some of those into our businesses. So like the wow through service, we all try to do that in real estate, of course. But they took it to just phenomenal levels. I don't know if I shared the story of one of the customer service people was on the phone with a client who needed to return some shoes because her mom had ordered the shoes and her mom just passed away. And now the shoes just arrived and she doesn't need the shoes because she's not wearing shoes anymore. And the employee went, you know what, absolutely, totally. Not only are we going to give you the free return per usual, but we're going to go above and beyond and send UPS to your door. You don't have to go to the UPS store. You've got enough to handle already. And so they went above and beyond with that, sent UPS to her door to pick up the shoes. But then they looked even further and went, we kind of feel like we want to send flowers. We want to send flowers to this family. And they'd never done that before, but the employee was getting the impression that they wanted to, and this company enables their employees they've got a budget set aside for delivering wow. And they went, okay, that would be a wow, do it. And they delivered the flowers and got the client was so amazed that some of the people she knew didn't send flowers. Some of her coworkers didn't send flowers. Very few people that she knew actually did that. And the shoe company sent flowers.
Right.
And they posted it on social media and got all sorts of positive connection there, and got a huge ROI out of that, even though that wasn't their intention, because they just were delivering wow. And then I liked the one of in their culture, they create fun and a little weirdness. And that is part of just who they are, and they communicate that way. And they said if you are, or she said when I was speaking with her, that if you are at their corporate offices, which you can, if you're in Las Vegas, you can request a tour of their corporate offices. Don't be surprised to see employees in costume and random things going on in their office, because that's what they encourage. That's what they do in their office. They create fun and a little weirdness at times. And I found their culture very engaging and entertaining to learn about. And I'm excited to finish reading through this book. I haven't finished it yet, but the book Delivering Happiness, which is on the screen there. I'm excited to finish reading through it and implement some pieces into our company with our property management, on the market property management, which already has fun and humor in it with the puns. We have puns throughout our website that we've been designing, which I'm so excited should be up soon. But we're putting puns everywhere in there because we want that fun. That's who Mark
Oh,
is.
knowing Mark, I'm just shocked by that. How did you get him to sign off on that? I love those examples, Kitty. I'm thinking in my head right now of the one that you said about the flowers and stuff, because I'm thinking of instances where I thought of occasions to do stuff like that and I didn't do it. I thought about it and just, then got busy and it didn't happen. And what a great impact that would have made if I would have.
Mhm. And I think this topic is something that's so good to keep in mind just as you're starting anything. So like as you're working on your property management company and your values and like what you want to be all about. And then Jeff and I where we want to teach entrepreneurs how to build a referral-based business. And so this like really goes in line with that, because I'm reading $100 million leads right now. And in that book, they say you want to have an offer that is so good that someone would feel stupid saying no.
Yes,
So
I've
it's
heard that.
almost like you want to provide so much value that someone's like, why wouldn't I do this?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And so I think this is right in line with that. So I love that you brought this up.
Thank you.
You have any comments?
Hi, Shante.
Hi guys, how are you?
Fantastic.
Good. It's been a while. These Thursday meetings are a challenge for me. So yeah, I miss y'all.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to see you, and yeah, I think every day has a challenge for somebody.
Mhm.
Good to see you.
Thanks, Kitty. That was awesome. Eric, anybody else have any thoughts on that? I listened to the audiobook of that, but by Kitty bringing this up again, I've pulled it back up on my queue, and when I finish the book I'm on, I'm gonna go back to it. I wanna revisit it just because of the things Kitty's shared, so. Cool. So let's move on. I know Eric's super busy. Every time I talk to him, he's putting up a new listing, so he's got some good energy attracting some referrals and some business. And what else are you doing, Eric, to keep so busy?
Oh man. I think probably just being consistent with, reaching out to SOI and the monthly things that we send out to our SOI and past clients, making sure we're staying in contact, making sure that even if a referral doesn't go through to closing, we're really diligent about making sure that the people that refer us know how much we love and appreciate their referrals. One thing I learned, it's actually from, oh man, I can't remember the name of the training that we had a few months ago, but Sandler, remember Sandler that came in?
Yes.
And I went through a Sandler course probably 8 years ago, for a few days. And of all the things that were taught in that class, the one thing that I really remember that I've never forgotten is when you're talking to somebody about referrals is you change your voice inflection, you change your speed, and you make sure that they really hear you. And this is kind of a side note, but you made me think of it, Jeff. So
Yeah.
when you're talking about referrals, you say, hey, if you send me a referral, I promise to take really, really good care of them. I mean, it's that simple. Like you just kind of change how you're saying it so people really listen and hear what you're about to say and how important it is to you, and say, hey, referrals are how I make my income. It's the lifeblood of my business. So if you send me a referral, I promise to take really, really good care of them. That's it. That's the Sandler mindset, or the Sandler training of how to approach and talk to your SOI, and cultivate a referral base. So I always think of that every time I talk to any of my people about that referrals, and or my past clients SOI. I do say it like that, and it sounds funny when I say it to myself, but I don't think it sounds, it seems to work. That's all I'm saying.
It does. In fact, you just kind of giving the example of how you say it, I
Mhm.
could feel sincerity that you really meant it. And it wasn't just an, what's the word,
A script.
yeah,
almost.
yeah, a script. It wasn't something that's like, oh, I say this to everybody or whatever. It's like you paused, you slowed down and you said that. And I could literally, feel like the authenticity behind that statement. When you said it, and you're just telling us how you do it. So I can imagine when you're talking to somebody, it's like, wow, I really believe what you said.
Well, I think it's easy in life and society to be afraid to ask for what you need sometimes, right? And just coming out and saying what you want to ask for. And kind of, when you talk about oh man, that'd be great if you send me a referral. Thanks so much. That'd be really cool. So how are the kids? It's like almost we don't want to talk about it because it's kind of awkward. It's like, well, why have that awkward feeling? It's something that's so important. Let people know it's important to you and they'll remember it. I think Eric could take really good care of our friends if we send them to him, so
Right.
yeah, it's just a little bit of a shift of how you do it. But I've been doing it for years. Ever since I learned that. It was a 3-day course. I remember 8 seconds of it, but I think it's helped my business.
I love it. The first thing you said too, and congratulations on, how busy you are right now. There's a lot of people that aren't, but you said it was the consistency. It's like whether you're super, super busy or it has to be consistent because if somebody gets that client, it's like, oh my gosh, all their focus goes to this one client and they drop everything that they were doing that created the momentum then to get that client. And once that is moving towards a closing, they have to start over.
Mhm.
When you're super, super busy is probably the most important time to stay consistent and to do those touches, like you said, reach out to your SOI, continue those relationships, even though in the back of your mind, you're going, oh shit, I hope I don't get another one right now. I'm so busy.
Yeah, that's very true.
Cool, cool. Shantae, how things going for you up there?
Things are going all right. I have an active listing right now. We're just approaching 30 days on market. Which is always a bummer, right? But it's an acreage property. It's 41 acres. It's beautiful, but it's tucked back. It's just going to take the right buyer. And I have a new property under contract in Sun River. It's a vacation community. So it's an existing client that is investing in their first vacation rental in Oregon. So that's fun, and a few other buyers I'm working with.
Fantastic. That's nice. I know we had the kids that were over at the pool yesterday, and both Lynn and Chase were almost taking turns going into the house, writing up counter offers and addendum and coming back out. And it was like handing babies off, going inside and everything. I thought it was super, super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got family time and business time at the same time.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all great. Great stuff. So let's remind you, last week, James did an amazing presentation. Shantae or Kitty, I don't know if you guys saw that one, but that's worth going back and looking at the recording. James did an amazing job. He's really passionate about happiness. He talks a lot about happiness and being happy and being in control of your happiness because he's read some books on that topic. So his presentation was on the book, The Happiness Advantage. And he kind of went through the structure of how that was laid out. And you can see in his title right there, and you can kind of tell the premise of the book was, we're more successful when we're happy. And most people have it backwards. They think they will become happy once they're successful. And so by flipping that around and deciding and being decisive that, I'm going to be happy in spite of, things just tend to happen for you. So that was a really good presentation.
Yeah, he read that book 4 times before he did this presentation.
Yeah.
So he really knew his stuff. He knew all the studies and like all the facts and everything, and it was really cool because it was the science to back it up, not just saying like, oh, here's a cool fun fact of that
Yes.
happiness comes first.
This is what we
Yeah.
found from studying, yeah. Mhm. Really good, really good. And then today we actually have Jason. We met Jason through Eric, actually. Eric, you've told me a couple of times of the cool experience on how you got introduced to him. But for those on the call, will you just repeat that on how you met Jason?
Yeah, I'd love to. It really is about relationships sometimes, right? So let's see. I was doing an open house in Draper, and I had a couple walk in that were going to move to Utah from California about in 6 months down the road, down the future. Stayed in contact with them, ended up selling them house on seller finance because they had a couple investment properties that were just purchased in the last year that were they were all liabilities and not assets according to their accountant. So they were just waiting for 6 months before they could actually refinance. So we did a seller finance property for them. Very nice home. And when they were going to refinance, they were struggling with their previous lender who'd been working on it for 6-7 weeks, kept getting run into issues. And it was actually, and I didn't know about this at the beginning because the home had been closed for about 7-8 months and they had 2 years to do a seller finance. So I just got kind of caught the end of it, and our clients said, "Hey, we're trying to get this refinanced," and we actually were recommended by someone else that, "Hey, if you're having trouble getting refinanced, you need to talk to the loan wizard." And it was kind of funny because they actually helped, Jason actually helped them with a very complex file. They're self-employed, multiple properties, new in the area, new business, because they're changing their business to Utah from California. Very challenging file. He got it done in about 11 days. And I was like, well, I need to meet the loan wizard. So, man, I think that was a year and a half ago, and Michelle and I have closed probably 6 or 7 transactions with Jason since then. Something like that. Or maybe we have a couple in file right now. So he's been incredible, and he's got a great personality. Buyers love him, agents love him, and man, he knows his stuff. I'm just super impressed with everything that I've ever done with Jason so far. And if you're local, he probably has the best lunch provided that we've ever had. So
He's doing the
it's
same
worth
thing
coming in if you can.
the series.
He's bringing the same thing he brought when he sponsored a couple months ago, but this is the first class he's taught for us. So anyway, I'm excited about it. He's very good.
I met with him a couple of weeks ago now and learned a lot about him. I thought it was kind of cool. So he's an actor as well. I thought that was interesting. And then also before he was, like a loan originator, he worked in the back end. So he did underwriting and different things like that. So he is able to see a lot of the red flags before sending it to underwriting because of that experience. So I really liked that fact about him because not a lot of loan officers, they're like, well, let me send it to underwriting, whereas he's able to see it up front because he has that experience.
Yeah, and this is the way we meet good vendors, right? I mean, Hillary's introduced us to somebody that was on a recent training lately, even though he lives in another state. He happened to be in Utah and he came in. Kitty has introduced us to amazing professionals as well. And like you did, Eric, it started out by him just coming in and sponsoring, meeting some of the agents in person and say, yeah, there's a cool vibe in here. I'd love to come back. And then it turns into him presenting like this. He's actually come in and attended some other presentations by other presenters, which is pretty awesome. He does have a great personality. He's just an all-around good guy, the kind of guy you want to be in business with. that your clients appreciate because of his concern for them, and that really comes across. So the hat is funny, but he's a really good dude and really knows his stuff. So today's gonna be awesome having him back in here.
I mean, that's smart. You can't forget the home loan wizard.
Yeah, he actually brought it in when he sponsored.
He actually
remember?
was gifted it. Somebody gave it to him.
Yeah,
So it just like happened.
you're right. Somebody like dubbed him the loan wizard, and then because of that title, somebody gave him a hat. Cool, looking forward to that. Here's some of our other upcoming trainings. You can see Ashley and I are on there in a few weeks. We're assembling some of the things that work for us in building a referral-based business. We're working with a lot of small businesses right now on helping them do the same. And so it's really an interesting process to actually flesh out what works. Because all of us, I know all of you on this call, all of you just do things naturally because of the type of person you are. But like me, I'm sure you don't as often sit back and dissect it and say, why does what I do work? What did I do that led to this success? So it's an interesting process, but when you do that, now you actually have that shareable looking back and say, oh, I did this. And it led to this result, even though it wasn't intentional at the beginning. It's really important to identify those maps and those trails that lead us to success so that we can duplicate it. And we're sharing that with others and bringing small business owners into our sphere right now, which has been a lot of fun.
It's been awesome. And we also, end of June, we've got a 2-hour core CE class that preparing for settlement with Tucker. We've had Tucker in here before and he did a great job. And we love Spencer Stott too, who's coming in on the 20th. It's interesting because as Jeff and I started to focus more on building a referral-based business, we actually just like had people start signing up for trainings that are in line with what we're doing. It's funny.
Yeah, actually doing referrals. It's been over a year since Spencer's been in here, but he's got some good content. So share those, guys, with other people that you work with that might benefit from those. And even if they don't come, you have the opportunity to follow up with them, maybe share the recording later.
I'll mention, hey, Jeff,
Yeah,
on Stott. He is fantastic. If you are interested in building a database and keeping in contact with people on a regular, and be automated, he is phenomenal. I get things from him every year. Michelle actually knows him by name because he pops up on my phone. Michelle thinks we're friends, so he's fantastic at follow-up. So that's a really good one to get if you want to enhance your SOI.
good plug, I agree. Anything else on that? EXPCon is going to be in Miami this year. It's been in Las Vegas ever since we joined Eric. It's been in Vegas every single year. So it'll be interesting to go to a different venue. I've never been to Miami, but I'm looking forward to that. You guys should consider that if you want to plug into, the culture and meet some of the leaders of EXP. It's really nice to have some of these people in your cell phone and the ability to call them and talk to them and have a relationship. I message some of them and even on the workplace. Just a lot of great leadership in this company. And I don't know how many of you have actually seen this one. How many times have we talked about this?
Just last week, and I still need to send out the actual invite to everyone, like a text with it.
Book a flight, Shantae.
Frowny face.
She's like, too far.
I'm already booked. I totally would. I've been waiting for it.
It's interesting. I run into a lot of people that have seen on social media or because they know me personally, we're friends and stuff, and they make comments about the project I've done in my backyard at the pool and whatnot. And they're like, when are we gonna see that? When are we gonna see that? And particularly with the team, right? So it's like, we have to just get something on the calendar to make it happen because we're all so busy. It's like time goes by. I can't believe that we're already in June.
I mean, we could easily do just, to volunteer your property and everything. We could easily do one a month. It is summertime.
Yeah, absolutely,
We
absolutely.
could
Ashley
bring
and
in
I,
sponsors to take care of the food and live it up.
yeah, stay tuned. Ashley and I are on some things. Yeah, it is a great venue and it's personal and we get to, visit and network and hang out and stuff like that. So I'm excited for those that can make it for this. And Eric actually pointed out to me that that's like the first day of summer solstice. I didn't even know that. It's almost like we did it on purpose.
Next slide. I think it's there.
I give credit to Ashley for knowing that it was.
Yeah, it was all planned.
Oh, Ashley. Okay, Eric, I know you've got,
We're good on time.
we're getting to.
We are good
So-
on time. All right. Well, I'm excited to chat about this. I've actually been thinking about this all week on what I'd like to kind of share. And I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Tracy. I bet everybody on this call actually is. Since it's recorded, people watch it back later. Brian Tracy, he's been around a long time. I would say not necessarily, he's not as much of a motivational speaker, but more of an education and business mindset personality. He's written a ton of books. Eat the Frog. I'm sure you've heard of that book, but he's very good. He was one of the first people that I listened to. Well, read, I guess. We were reading back then, not listening. But I really,
for me, dude.
yeah, exactly. But I was specifically looking for something on parting thoughts on change and being adaptive because of what's going on in our real estate world right now. So I love this quote: resolve to be the master of change rather than a victim of change. And when you look at life and business and everything, don't we always have change? And you can hold on to what you want and the way you like things and the way it was in the past, but does it really matter that you loved going to Blockbuster and renting videos and you just hate watching Netflix? I don't know, whatever it is in life, right? You just don't like it. You just prefer the old way. And it does not matter what you prefer. Life changes around you. You either have to adapt or in a way you become a victim. And there's certainly small things in life like Blockbuster, and there's much bigger things. But the reason I wanted to bring this up today is because we've had a massive change in our real estate business nationwide. And I know it started, I think it really started in Washington State. They started pushing for it and it just spread like whatever you want to call it, depending point of view, like manna from heaven or a disease, however you look at it, and what your mindset is of the change in the BAC, how we offer or receive commissions as buyers agents. But I have been thinking a lot about it, and I've heard so many different things. I've heard from agents that are scared. Hey, how do you think this is going to affect our business? Are you thinking about maybe doing something different? Do you think that Amazon is taking over the world and we're going to have, it's just going to be a bunch of robot agents out there, right? I've heard that kind of scarcity and fear. I've also heard the straight negative about the change in our industry, saying this is going to crush us. It's awful. My favorite, though, is something that I've adapted and that I heard from an EXP agent, not in Utah. He said, I am stoked. I just got a raise because now I get to request 3% BAC on every offer I submit as a buyer's agent.
Is it?
I was like, hell yes. That's what I like. That's my mindset moving forward, is now I don't have to look at the BAC and say, oh, look, this discount brokerage is offering $1,000 or 1%. None of that matters. We dictate what our value is with our buyer, and we have that opportunity to say this is what we're worth. And it actually opened up the BAC to become a negotiation piece in real estate. I mean, is that kind of how you look at it, Jeff, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had a lot of people ask me about it. It's like, ooh, wow, how's business, man? How's it changed since these new rulings and stuff? And I'm like, really hasn't. It really depends on the agent, right?
Yeah.
What it's done though is it's given us an opportunity to have those conversations earlier with both the buyers and with the sellers, because they're curious, what does this mean? For us here in Utah, we've had a listing agreement for a long time that has separated the seller's commission from the buyer's commission. And we should have been having this dialogue for years now on how the commission structure works and letting them know that it's up to them and it's negotiable on what they offer. And so being in that position and then talking about it, they're like, oh, okay, that now they have confidence in it, that this is the way that we've operated all along. But for those that haven't maybe made that conversation as transparent, hopefully it's gonna up their game. The change is a good change because they get an opportunity to explain it to the buyer, to show them, or to the seller, to explain to them how we attract buyers in real estate. Because it's always been negotiable. They've never been required to offer a buyer's agent a commission. It really depends on the agent they had and how it was explained to them. And so yeah, I think it's all good. It's a great opportunity for us to get more market share too. Because for those that are looking at it in a negative light that might have already been struggling, unfortunate for them or fortunate for them, they may be moving on to other careers and different things because it's just too difficult because they're not looking at it from the right perspective.
Well, I remember in, right after the big downturn in 08, 09, there were so many agents out there that did not know what they were doing the previous years. And a lot of those scattered and left the business when it got hard because they hadn't developed those skills. And a lot of us picked up extra business because there weren't as many agents that were doing that. So if someone's mindset is, those first two examples that I mentioned, scarcity, fear, or negativity, then some of those agents may choose just to move on and blame it on the change of the real estate regulations instead of what the truth is. And that's mindset and work ethic and being able to have conversations with your buyers and sellers in the proper way. So it actually can not only give us a pay raise, it can actually increase our opportunity for market share. So I have zero problems with this change. But that's kind of why I wanted to focus on this change, because it's already happened, it's coming, and us having the proper outlook on it is really important. And when you look at change, you can study it from Brian Tracy or anyone that you follow. Change gives you the opportunity to have some personal growth, some development, and you can have skills that are developed in being more having more adaptability in your life. And it can create some new opportunities and passions for you when you have change. So look at it as an opportunity to conquer a challenge. When a challenge comes up, you can look at it two different ways. I can succumb to it, or I can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to embrace this challenge, and I'm going to conquer it, and I'm going to be stronger for the next challenge that comes up. So it really is an opportunity for success, and it builds strength in relationships when you have challenges that you have to overcome, because it's never just you, right? Every challenge usually has to do with somebody else or someone's or a situation. So it enhances your skill level. And a lot of times when you have change, you have to learn something new and how to adapt it into your life and business, which also means you're growing and you're learning not only a new skill, but you might actually be learning new information that you get to store in your amazing mind, that you can access later and use to help people in a positive way. So I love change and adapting and embrace it. So that's kind of the one thing I wanted to mention The other thing was the change in the markets, right? Just, we always have change in the markets. We're going through a change in the market right now. Not just because of the NAR regulation changes and all that, but it's so funny when buyers, sellers, friends, SOY kind of look at you and kind of like, so how are you doing? I heard interest rates are like 17% or something. Are you doing okay? Are you still busy? And it's because they hear all the negativity that we're bombarded with, in the media and just news, and they hear it from friends and neighbors, and they're always asking about the market. And it's got me thinking this last week. I was thinking about changes and these parting thoughts when Ashley asked me to do them. And I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about and what to share. I want to talk about changes because we're going through a bunch of them right now. But it got me thinking about, if I could pick the perfect real estate market for me, what would it be? And I realized I don't even know if I can answer that question. Isn't that interesting? I've been around long enough that I've seen pretty much every market. 3 years ago was insane, or 2 years ago, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, forget inspections and appraisals and deadlines. We're just going to give you 10,000 earnest money, non-refundable, and we're just going to show up at closing and hope it's a good house. And we're going to go 40,000 over asking while we're at it. I mean, that was one market I'd never experienced. So that was new. But what I was thinking about was, what's the perfect market for me? And it's really hard to nail that. Do I like a buyer's market, a seller's market? Do I like one that is more balanced? Or is it really good when interest rates are really low and there's a lot of competition with buyers out there? And I was trying to really kind of nail it down. And then I realized it doesn't matter because I can't control it. The only thing that's going to be constant in the market is the fact that it is changing all the time. So you have to just kind of keep a pulse on the market. And I'd say it's like a 3 to 4 week pulse, right? I mean, it changes. I mean, you can feel it in 2 or 3 weeks period of time. You can feel it in 2 or 3 months, or maybe a year. It's always fluctuating. So just keep a pulse on it and adapt and know what's happening. So when you're working with a buyer or a seller, you can help them with those changes and being creative and being able to adjust and give people the right context and advice, because that's what they're looking for from you is really, hey, you tell me, because I don't know. And you're the one in the market all the time. So you're the one that they're relying on to be the expert to understand and know those changes and feel the pulse of the market. So that's the other change that I want to discuss, is the change in the market, because we're having a change in the market right now. We had a change in the market 3 months ago. We're going to have another change in 3 months, maybe 3 weeks. We just don't know. So we just always have to be adapting and working with those changes. So kudos to you guys for being on the class. I know it's a challenge sometimes for everybody on every day. Schedules are tight. We're all busy, but this is how we keep a pulse on the market, is talking to other agents that are actually in the business, right? They're actually working and doing the work and seeing it. So great job, everybody. I'm glad you're here, and I hope that was helpful and got you to think about, just kind of mindset and being adaptive when changes come, because they're always coming.
Eric, those are some great thoughts, and I know the answer to your self-imposed question of what is your favorite market, and it's the current one.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
The current, it's not the past market, it's not what it's gonna be, it's what it is. And whenever there's uncertainty and confusion in the market, it gives all of us a chance to position ourselves as having an opinion. Everybody wants to know what your opinion is of the market. They can find data on the market. Go to any Facebook group and you're gonna see a post from somebody that says, I don't know what to do. My seller just called me or my buyer just called me and said they don't have to pay me a commission, and so they're not going to, and I've shown them 12 houses and they're crying and whining, and it's like, wow, you really messed up when you took them on as a client. Didn't you? If that's can you imagine somebody calling you and say, hey, I just found out I don't have to pay you, I'm not paying you. What kind of relationship and positioning does that show you that you have with that client? Like none. So take advantage of the current market and have an opinion and share the opinion and instill confidence in your sphere, in your past clients, in your friends and family, that you know what the hell you're doing. And you know how to address this current confusion. And they're like, that'll instill the confidence that they're like, oh, I probably need somebody like them to be my realtor.
The
Well
thing that
said.
I like the most about this is that it's all about perspective. So I was actually editing one of our teaser trailers for an upcoming training, and it's for a real estate coach. And he kept saying the real estate market is turbulent. The real estate market is turbulent. And I was thinking about it and I was like, I don't feel like it's turbulent. And so it just makes me think of this and how it's all about what perspective you're looking at it from. And when I say the word turbulent, it makes me think of an airplane. And you know how when you're on an airplane and like the plane drops, like all the adults get super scared, but the kids are like laughing. They're like, woo, this is fun. And all the adults are scared, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna crash.
You're gonna die.
So it just shows like it's all about the perspective that you're looking at it from. And I like the whole, your favorite market is the current one. Because that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Is address the current market. You can't guess what's gonna happen.
And final thoughts on that is, you've all heard the saying, the only constant in life is change. Okay, that's because our main source of unhappiness in life, also going back to James' presentation, is wanting things to be different than they are. Unmet expectations, right, are the source of unhappiness. But if you're able to pivot and adapt and deal with the current market, which is our favorite market, because we're still in business, we haven't quit, right? We're not doing something else. If you're in real estate, whatever the market is whatever the market is. And that's how you're going to help people navigate the process of homeownership and investment, building of assets for a safe, secure retirement, all of those great things that real estate brings. So boost your confidence up and talk with authority and have an opinion. Boom. That's all I got. The end.
Yeah.
Just so you guys know too, Ashley, when you asked me to do the thoughts this week, it didn't occur to me that I will be gone next Thursday. So just in preparation for the thoughts for next week, I have a very important network event that I do every year it's a charity event that is really important to me and some friends of mine. So I will be gone next Thursday. So just FYI.
Awesome. Thanks
This
for the
is
heads
a
up.
one
Yeah,
shot
we're-
on change. So you're just gonna have to change and adapt how you do.
I see what you did there.
Very purposeful, very purposeful. I like it. I like it. Way to just drive your point home, Eric. All right, Kitty, Shantae, Hillary, love you guys.
Good to see y'all.
I'm gonna change my setup here and get ready for training. Jason's actually already here. He walked in and he whispered and he said, is that Eric's voice I hear? And then he went downstairs and he's talking to Lynn. So I'm gonna get his setup going and get ready for our training. And hopefully you guys can jump on. It's gonna be really good.
Bye, guys.
See you guys
Have a
soon.
good day.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's a great way to start the day.